In Honor's heart, the status of the Ito family is indeed very high. After all, this is the largest family in Japan, and it has just survived the fierce battle of the three major families in Tokyo. In this regard alone, the future of the Ito family is limitless. Therefore, Honor did not believe that Charlie could have any actual relationship with the Ito family. It must be him or his friend who spent money to rent a helicopter owned by the Ito Family General Aviation Company. So he took his little assistant and walked to the helipad. Standing by the helicopter was a beautiful lady wearing a blue flight attendant uniform. Seeing the two approaching, she looked at Honor and said respectfully, "You should be Mr. Song, right?" Honor nodded, and said arrogantly, "Yes, it's me. Are you responsible for picking me up?" The beauty smiled slightly and said, "Yes, Mr. Song. Mr. Wade and our eldest lady are waiting for you at home now. Please board the plane with the lady." Honor hummed. Master is so polite. In the urban area, you don't need to take a helicopter at all. Can't you just take a car? The beauty said indifferently. "Mr. Song," our eldest lady said, "be more solemn when picking you up." Honor shook his head and smiled, and thought to himself contemptuously, "Send a helicopter here to be grand? Do you think I'm a bunny who has never seen the world? Our Song family is also worthy of private jets and private helicopters. I'll have this stuff in my eyes." It's nothing great, however, since it is the helicopter sent by Charlie. He naturally did not dare to say such dismissive remarks in person, so he said very politely, "If this is the case, then let's leave now." After that, he took his assistant and got into the heavy helicopter. This helicopter was originally able to carry at least 20 people, but now the cabin has been completely transformed into a luxurious room, just like a top luxury RV. Honor sat down on the sofa of the helicopter and asked the beauty, "I don't know where Master is. How far is it from here?" The beauty smiled and said, "It's almost 15 kilometers. 15 kilometers? Honor said helplessly, "Isn't it just a few minutes away?" The beauty smiled and said, "It takes a few minutes to fly. It takes about half an hour." "What? Half an hour?" Honor said dumbfounded. 15 kilometers, even if you pedal a bicycle, you can get there by pedaling faster for half an hour. The speed of this helicopter can't be slowed to this point, right? The beauty smiled and said, "Mr. Song doesn't know something. In order to show the importance of you, our eldest has specially arranged a sightseeing route. You will know later." Honor asked a little puzzled, "Could I ask who your eldest lady is?" The beauty shook her head and said apologetically, "I'm sorry, Mr. Song, we can't tell you the identity of our eldest lady yet, but when we get to the place, you will naturally know." Honor nodded and said, "Okay." Having said that, he also muttered in his heart, "I don't know what kind of medicine Charlie is selling in the gourd. I'm free to get a helicopter. What's the trouble here?" At this time, the beautiful woman said, "Mr. Song, our helicopter is about to take off. Please put on the intercom headset and buckle your seatbelt." "Okay." Honor nodded, put on the intercom headset, and buckled the seatbelt. Since loud noise is generated when the helicopter is in operation, it is impossible to hear each other in a normal conversation in the cabin. In order to solve the problem of communication in the cabin, all the crew and passengers on the helicopter wear headphones with very good sound effects. Wearing headphones can not only isolate the sound of the engine, but also use radio to ensure each other's call. Once the helicopter gets up, they can only communicate with each other in this way. At this time, the helicopter engine turned slowly, then accelerated continuously, and soon began to slowly rise. Honor thought, "I can also take this opportunity to take a look at Tokyo under the sky." As he was thinking, he heard the beautiful woman's voice in the headset, and she said, "Number 2 and number 3 take off, number 4 and number 5 start the engines, number 6 and number 7 start to prepare." Honor was still a little puzzled, and he thought to himself, "What is number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5? What is this girl talking about here?" Just wondering, the assistant on the side pointed to the roofs of the other two buildings on both sides of the window, and said in surprise, "Mr. Song, there are also 2 helicopters flying on the roofs of those 2 buildings, exactly the same as the one we are sitting on." Honor turned his head to see, as expected. 2 identical helicopters take off at the same time and simultaneously on the left and right sides. These two planes are not only the same as the model they are flying in, they are all Super Cougar, but also the fuselage painting is the same, both of which are painted by Ito General Aviation. Honor asked the beauty in surprise, "These two planes are also yours?" The beauty nodded and smiled. "They will accompany you all the way." Honor was stunned. "What is full flight companionship?" The beauty smiled and said, "It is to accompany you throughout the flight, just like the front and rear cars of the convoy." Honor's expression was a bit stunned and said, Is this really necessary?" "Master won't be too expensive, right?" The beauty said calmly. "Don't worry, Mr. Wade doesn't have to pay a penny." Honor nodded, and thought to himself. Needless to say, Charlie should have found another bully in Tokyo. As they were talking, the two helicopters had risen to the same height as them. After that, the two planes followed the plane Honor was riding in, and the three planes moved forward at the same speed. Just 1 kilometer after flying out, Honor's assistant pointed to the two buildings on both sides and said, "Mr. Song." Two more planes on both sides. Honor took a closer look and was shocked. "This is 5. Is this necessary?" Just after speaking, the assistant pointed far away and blurted out, "Mr. Song, there seem to be black helicopters on the roofs of the two buildings in front." Honor looked in the direction of her fingers, and indeed there were two black things the size of ants at a distance of 1 kilometer away. Honor carefully identified the two black objects parked on the top of the building. They really looked like the same helicopter he was riding in. "I was surprised that the two helicopters that took off just now have arrived. The fleet has changed from 3 to 5. Soon, the black things that were like two ants became bigger and bigger in Honor's vision, and it was easy to recognize them. They were indeed two helicopters. Subsequently, the two helicopters also began to take off. The fleet has changed from 5 to 7. At this time, Honor had a numb scalp. He doesn't understand, what exactly is Charlie doing? Just pick him up, is it necessary to make it so grand? As he was thinking, he heard the beauty say on the walkie-talkie, "The efficiency of taking off in twos is too low. Let's start 4 at a time."